Welcome to the show. It is the top of the hour here, plus 11 minutes. On the East Coast, we're in South Carolina here at the Banking Bros and Cash Compound headquarters. It is 50% of the Banking Bro duo, J-Do, here with Coach Jesse, capital W. Put some respect on it.
Jesse Whole Life Durham.
Jesse Whole Life Durham. All right. He's here until he dies, so I guess it is whole life. All right. And we've got Coach Sean King from Legacy Life downtown, down there in the Pensacola Panhandle. Appreciate you both being with us again for another power hour and client coaching and cash conversation and coaching session here. So if you're joining us on YouTube, welcome. The Banking Bros channel family of subscribers out there. Maybe you're on Facebook at the Cash Compound Facebook page or the Infinite Bankers private group. We're so happy to have you in the conversation there, where the conversations are longer and stronger, or on our IG at the Banking Bros. You may be seeing us live in those avenues. So appreciate you guys being here. This is about you. Questions, comments, and concerns go in the chat. We want them. We'll talk about whatever we can to help you understand some foundational tools for code cracking cash flow. How in the world can you set yourself up where your money comes in and stays with you? All right. It doesn't go out to all the people at the student loan people and the car payment people and refrigerators broke again people. Right. And the kids are coming up with, how many of you have kids who go to school and they say, here's the list of things that you need. Bring an extra box of tissues, right? It's important. You've been a school teacher. Bring us some pencils. Have an extra thing of pencils. Get some glue sticks out there. Bring a ruler. Bring a compass, protractor, whatever they need these days. But then they don't tell you, you're actually going to need to dress this kid up in 30 different flavors of stuff you weren't planning for. You need a Halloween costume, but it can't be scary. You need a wacky day. Dress them up for the 100th day of school. You need to dress them as a pumpkin. Christmas, Father Time, all this stuff. True or false? This happens, especially in elementary school. Like there's 50 other things you're supposed to be doing. So the money is just going to go away unless you learn to save and spend at the exact same time. And that's the system that we teach here. So welcome to the show. Go ahead and put your questions, comments, and stuff in there. I want to meet our coaches and hear from them right now. So jump on in, fellas. Jesse, why don't you first tell us what's been on your mind this week and what's the craziest thing you had to do when you were in school that you weren't prepared for that cost a bunch of money? We're getting close to the school's almost back in session.
That takes my mind two completely different directions. So I'm not even going to answer that question. What I'm thinking of is at the homeschool, we don't even necessarily always have shirts on all the time. I can pull up in the yard from meeting with a client over lunch or whatever, and one of my sons might not even have a shirt on, but he's reading his book or working on whatever he's working on.
Okay.
So
all right.
It's just
so you don't have to dress up. Dress down. Dress down in your world.
Right.
All right, Sean, how about you, man? Down in Florida, what's the news down there? What in the world is happening this summer? You guys may not have shirts on either. Maybe I'm just barking up the wrong tree of coaches right here. Tell us what type of things eat up your money. You've got a baby who's not in school yet, so maybe you have to think back on what are the things that cost you a bunch of money in school.
Oh boy, he's in daycare. We take him 5 days a week when he ain't sick.
Got right. Yep.
Let's see. There's what's costing us money. So yeah, nothing. They're not particular about the way he dresses or anything right now. But there's always, it seemed like kids, I got nieces and nephews that are always doing fundraisers for things now.
Yes.
And so there's requirements to give them money for the huge bag of popcorn that they're raising for this, that, the other thing. It's like they're always asking for some money for something. I don't know what they're raising money for. It must be something good. It must be a lot of money because we got a lot of bags of popcorn, a lot of taffy, a lot of all that extra chocolate stuff that they know is real good for you. Keep you alive a long time.
Children can raise capital very quickly.
They can, 100%. Yeah. Now, I'm an MC and I'm a host. I've been in a lot of spaces and places where there's been fundraisers, and I agree with that. There is a local school to where I'm at in Greenville, South Carolina, that this group of elementary school students, I'm talking K4 through 6, 500 students, not a huge school, 550 students, something like that. So I don't think that's a big school for elementary at all. And they pull off in 2 weeks' time every year, 60 grand in a fundraiser plus. every single year, and this is what they do. The model of fundraising. What do you think they're selling? I'm gonna let you guys go out there and guess. So how are they getting money? How is this money siphoning off their parents, grandparents, coaches, teachers, pastors, or whatever? And they go door to door, or whatever they might do. Send emails now. Back in my day, you had to go knock on the doors. What in the world are they getting people to sign up for? What do you think it is? Sean, we'll go with you first, man. It's not popcorn. It's not donuts. It's not the world's finest chocolate.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. Candy bar.
One of my favorite shows, The Office, they had people sign up for essentially how many miles or laps or whatever I was going to run at the fun run or whatever.
The fun run, the walkathon. I did walkathons, and now they make these kids move faster, so they have to do fun runs. My kids do a fun run, yes, but I did walkathon. We could walk back in the 90s. Jesse, what you got? It's not that.
I thought
it's not food. It's not food, and it's not the fun run. You ready for this? It is fundraising through kindness. They pledge to do good deeds. So there's no actual physical good going back and forth, not 90% of the time. The kids pledge to do good deeds, like take the trash out for the neighbor, like they're going to make a card for the troops and turn it in at school, and then the school will send it off to the troops. So they literally pledge to do good deeds.
Okay.
And they pull off tons of money.
Keep my philosophical thoughts to myself, I suppose.
Well, what's cool about that? I told you that I get to be in front of the room, do a pep rally, get the kids going and get excited about this. And they'll earn tchotchkes, right? The school will buy a handful of tchotchkes. Normally it's been keychains. They'll buy little keychains and like tchotchkes are like swag, small items that you'd hand. Tchotchke, like if everybody who comes to the event gets a shot glass with this on it, you might call it a tchotchke, right? That's the correct way to say it.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And they pledge to do good deeds. They get super hype. And what this is not stuff you're supposed to do already, like chores. So we have to always differentiate that. Like if your parents if your parents make your bed, you're not, don't get your grandma to pay the school, right, for that.
Do it because Jordan Peterson said so.
Right. What we're doing here is we're doing extra above and beyond. Love it. Okay, let's get back into the conversation that you guys want to talk to. So shout out to everybody out there. Sharon, we see you, and we're going to put your comment straight up right now. Sean, why don't you give us a chat about this right here? Sharon is out there wondering, can you use cryptocurrency into the infinite banking concept? Thanks, Sharon.
So, yes, Sharon, great question. I would say yes, you can, because you have to remember the infinite banking concept is just a concept. We can really utilize it with multiple different products, if you might say. I'll have to toss this one to you, Jeremiah, because I can't recall the name of the gentleman that spoke at the event that we were just at out in Nashville, Tennessee. But they have a company specifically that is going to be backed by crypto, Bitcoin specifically, for whole life insurance products so people can practice the infinite banking concept with them. But this is specifically for crypto, Bitcoin in specific. So that may be something to look into. I would just look up whole life insurance company backed by Bitcoin or only using Bitcoin. Everything they do is 100% Bitcoin. So kind of transitioning into some of those stages.
Yeah. Okay. Sean, you can still hear me, right? I'm messing around with the computer. Okay. So yeah, there is a cryptocurrency model now around life insurance. So Sharon, just in case you're wondering and want to look into a deep conversation with that and how that company's doing it, there are several different things when we get outside of the US dollar that are going to be different in that space. And one of the major things that we look at when we're building the infinite banking concept for people's personal economy is going to be a mutual insurance company. And this company is not like that. I mean, hopefully there's a bunch of gains in your cryptocurrency portfolio. Of course, that's not tried and true and tested for the long term. But this company is called Meanwhile. Okay, so if you go look up Meanwhile, the exact way it is spelled in the word, you're going to find a crypto-based life insurance company. Now, to get back to your question a little bit, can you incorporate crypto into the infinite banking concept? Infinite banking concept can be used with all sorts of things. What we're doing is we're replenishing the pool of where our wealth is held. We're replenishing it like a bank, putting extra back into it with new gains in your production, your income, or interest. And you can do that with anything. But if you go through the things that you need to be efficient in this economy and to exchange money as fast as possible, whole life insurance becomes the asset, the ideal asset, because of the guarantees, because of a death benefit. Bitcoin doesn't have a death benefit, and there's nothing wrong with Bitcoin. But what we're saying is, if you go through each of these things, it is a protected, a guaranteed contract, an increasing pool of a separate cash flow of cash value. Whole life insurance ends up winning that conversation. So infinite banking is a test of your mind, but the concept is best put into practice 99 times out of 100 with whole life insurance. Great stuff out there. Okay. Jake says, my son is ready for a car. Jesse, give us a little update on what's going on with our friend Jake. He's here again each and every week, and help us understand how we can incorporate a car into this process.
Absolutely. We met for lunch. Me and his family had a great visit. Nice to spend time together face to face when we can, in person. Of course, we meet with lots of folks virtually, and that's something that we can definitely talk about. Lots of people are in that mode. So I recently even got a car using my system of policies as well. So we're all used to needing cars, using cars, et cetera. And the conventional route that we go is we either save up money for ourselves, don't use it, forego being able to use it, and then we spend it. It's gone. We got the car, we paid cash, we avoided paying interest. It's the cash method. The other method is the conventional financing, of course, where you're asking a bank for permission. They'll qualify you, disqualify you. You pay them interest. The car's the collateral. You don't make the payment. They pull the car. That's what the relationship looks like. Infinite banking is the way of controlling that banking side of the table, and you get to get the car. So you get to save your money. So we say you get to save and spend your money at the same time. So you get to save your money because you're the banker in that situation, and yet you still have access to money. So you get to go get the car that you wanted at the same time. So you get compounding interest in that banking system that you own and control, and you get to go out and get the car.
All right. Hopefully we've had these questions answered. There's several that we're getting to in a slower format, but Sharon was trying to make sure she knew the name of the company. Meanwhile is a new type of, it's not based in the United States. It's something special. So go out there and find that conversation with Better Wealth, Sharon. So if you go to YouTube and Better Wealth, we learned from it, not because you can't Google it and find it, a different conversation about the same thing. But Sean and I both saw one of the representatives from Meanwhile speak at a life insurance summit conference in Nashville, as he mentioned, and Better Wealth hosted that event. And so our buddy Caleb has a great YouTube experience with one of those guys from Meanwhile. You might want to check that. It was very interesting, very interesting. And if you believe in the upside of crypto, obviously you've seen Bitcoin go through the roof. We all have since 2008 or 9, whenever it started. Wow. You might buy in today and get a death benefit, have the appreciation go through the roof. Let's say Bitcoin's going to the moon like Doge and everything else, right? And the appreciation goes through the roof. And at the point of realizing a pool of money to borrow or death benefit, it's way bigger than what you bought into because the appreciation of what you bought has gone up. So it's wild. It's wild. So maybe no need for dividends if it keeps going. Who knows? All right, we're over here on Facebook, and I'm going to jump in here and have a conversation with someone from Instagram. I'm sorry. So we've posted, prodded, and pulled it from Insta to Facebook. So remember, you can find us at the Cash Compound Facebook page. It's a public page. Everybody can join it and see it and get into the conversation and see a lot of our stuff. But the question here is, what is the smallest amount for a whole life policy that someone can get? Now, for the infinite banking concept, we're going to challenge your thinking a couple of ways and times when you ask a question like that. And it's not because it's a bad question. It's because it might be poor thinking. So you have to kind of put that on the teeter-totter. It might be poor thinking. Whole life insurance can be bought at all sorts of amounts. You can give the insurance company $100 a month, depending on your age and health, and they'll give you death benefit. But to customize a policy for the use of saving and spending,
Right.
having your money go in and having a pool ready that you can leverage from the insurance company, cash value. So let's put in $2, right? Let's say you can buy for $2. Obviously, Premium Cup 1 is going to get you, if you guys can see it out there, I think you can kind of see, it's going to buy you a death benefit, Blue Cup, Cup 3. Now, that death benefit's not going to be high if you only give them $2. But what we're going to do is set up this policy strategically so you can leverage equity value of your policy from the insurance company. That's cash value cup number 2, the green one. Well, if you only give them $2, there's just no room to have any equity. Okay, so that's what we're saying there. So it might be a poor exercise in thinking for the infinite banking concept if you're trying to put in as small amount as possible. You can buy whole life insurance, but it may not work for you for a very, very, very long time, much longer than you're trying to realize equity value. So we often say around here that if you're going to pursue this with us to get really down to the brass tacks, but I encourage you to have a coaching call, free call with one of our coaches. But to get down to brass tacks, we often like to have that conversation with folks who are willing and ready to save, to keep, to monopolize on at least $500 a month, at least $500 per month if you're an adult to start this program. Okay. It doesn't have to be that much to buy whole life insurance. And that might be, wow, that's so much more than term life insurance. I have term. I pay, work pays for my term for me. Well, that's a different style of policy. So hopefully that's helpful. Come back with us if you need more questions answered on that. But appreciate you, Jermaine, over there on IG originally, I think, with that question. So thanks.
Yeah, and
for all
don't
that.
feel like that's any attempt from us to upsell you. We never tell people what their number should be, right? Like we tell you, you think about what's appropriate for you and look at it like this. Again, we're just trying to challenge your thinking around that question, right? Because there's always another level. How about this? How much of your current cash flow, whatever your current income is, see, it doesn't matter what the number is, but how much of it do you put into a commercial bank before you take care of the groceries or the gas or the what? Well, all of it probably, right? Well, if you want to be able to privatize that for yourself so that you could experience the access to this compounding capital where you can save it and then still spend at the same time, like Jadu was saying, what amount is appropriate for you for a first step to begin dedicating to this private banking system of yours? And then you just scale that over time.
Yep. So we own, everyone here owns multiple policies as well. So as our money is saved, compounding, growing, is monopolized upon, we're going to make sure that dollar does as many things for us for the rest of our life as possible. That's what I mean by a monopoly. That dollar is still with us. It's going to buy us more money. It's going to give us protection. It's going to be guaranteed. All these types of things. Let's monopolize the dollar that we make. We're going to expand the system and get bigger over time. But we also plan to make more money. How many of us are making more income this year, 2025, than we were in 2015? You go, oh, well, if I can monopolize my dollars and they can do a bunch of things for me forever, and my income rises and the costs of living rise, I want every dollar that I have and can put into the system. But Sean, can we ask you something a little more specifically? I know you've talked to people this week. What type of dollar amounts are they putting in there? We hashtag protect the wealthy around here, so we won't give too many details, but what type of dollar amounts are you thinking about on policies? Are you helping people think about, and how do you answer a question like that?
Yeah, for sure. So I've had put a couple policies into underwriting this week, and I've had a variation of premiums that are going in. So for the most part with adults, it's been between that $8,000 to $20,000 a year range. Some people are paying annually. Some people are paying monthly, whatever that might be broken down for that specific number. And then I've also put some kids policies in, and those are probably around the $100 to $200 a month range. So $1,200 to $2,400 a year. It's really just like Jesse and you said, what is a comfortable spot for you? We want you to push it a little bit. We don't want you to just be like, this is comfortable. This is exactly what I can do, because there's a good chance that you could get more out of what you're doing. And it would be more beneficial to you. And oftentimes we see people start with a smaller amount. I'm sure both of you could relate to this. You start with a smaller amount, and then you're like, now that I understand what's going on, now that I get the flow, now that I have a good feeling for all of this, I wish I would have done a bit more when I started. So we're never the ones that are going to tell you what that number should be. A lot of times people come to the table if they're a little educated, thinking it's about death benefit. So they may come to the table and say, hey, I want $1 million of death benefit. But the understanding is we come at this from the opposite end. It's not how much will this death benefit cost. It's how much will this amount of money that I want to put in actually provide me in death benefit. Mm-hmm. Because again, the death benefit in this scenario is kind of I don't want to call it an afterthought, because it's extremely important, but it's not the main focus of infinite banking. So we want to focus on how much money can you flow in on a regular basis. And we always structure the policies to have access for more cash to be floated throughout the months and the years.
I think it's a great point that you bring up. This is not an either or asset. Our buddy Caleb, we mentioned earlier, calls it the and asset. We call it the ideal asset, because those dollars that you put in do multiple things for you. So we do not want to de-emphasize the importance of death benefit at all. It needs to be there. Gosh, we're losing all the celebrities this week. Which one was the most surprising to you? Who was on your bingo card? Because I just heard down in Florida, we lost your man down there, Sean.
Ozzy was not a surprise to me, even though we were.
Well, that's true. He was the one that's not a surprise. But no, this morning, Sean, have you not seen Clearwater right around the corner from you? We lost Hulk. We lost the Hulk this morning.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy smokes. Also, kind of not a surprise. It's very sad, but not a surprise. Two guys that I'm sure lived very full lives.
Yeah, right. Ozzy probably a little more full.
Yeah,
but just a little more full. But we lost Theo, Malcolm and Jamal Warner. I loved Malcolm and Eddie, but all of us know him from the Cosby Show, of course. My goodness, holding down the house with a bunch of girls out there. But I mean, tragic accident for that one. That was tough to hear about. Very able-bodied, trying to have a good time with his family, and him and his daughter both got caught up in something crazy. So death benefit is important. Mm-hmm. Your family will be left behind, and they need the proper amount of time to grieve. You can buy that time with enough money to let them take off work, to let them put you in the ground, to let them pay their last respects, to let them take care of your affairs and get back from Costa Rica, take care of the house. Very important. Death benefit is always a part of infinite banking. It is going to be de-emphasized at the outset so we can get to cash values. We can use them, but then type of the policies that we use that are set up specifically for infinite banking, right here, the death benefit will actually rise in these policies, giving us more equity value all the time. And at the time we're likely to have death, hopefully a full long life in our 70s and beyond, the death benefit will likely be much higher than we would have ever bought at the outset or could have even afforded. Right. So keep that in mind, everybody. Okay, so any more questions, comments, concerns out there?
Well, Jermaine did say that he thinks cash value should be called life benefit.
There you go.
I like the sentiment behind that.
Hey, yeah, Jermaine, I agree with that. And there was a peer of ours that none of us have met in person that used to call their company. They've actually changed it up now to more of a family name, but they called it Life Benefits. That's what they called their entire company model, to help people understand how infinite banking could be utilized. They definitely use that term, infinite banking. They just called their company Life Benefits because, yes, we are going to use, lose, or abuse, like Ozzy and the Hulk, whatever. We're going to maybe abuse the money. Yeah, you can use it. You can lose it if you want. You can abuse it, but cash value is a part of the system, and it's always there for you. So Good point. Out there. Yeah, Sharon says she just saw that with the Hulk. Yeah, the Hulk apparently went into cardiac arrest this morning and didn't make it. RIP to him and Malcolm in that tragic accident. And of course, Ozzy, less tragic. We all knew that was coming. And love him or hate him, that man, he knew he was on the way out. He's been saying that for years. He was like, I'm here to have a good time. He had all sorts of crazy quotes. Like he was unapologetic for the way he lived his life. And so the fact that he made it to 76 or something.
He just got off that big tour he did. He like just finished his big tour up. He's like, all right, I'm done.
Yeah, he knew it too. Obviously, if you've seen some of the stuff from that tour, he didn't stand or anything. He was off of his pain medicines. He was in a lot of pain. He needed to sing, so they strapped him to his chair and everything. And he said, we're going to get in a couple more concerts to finish it off. And he was done right after that. Okay. Sharon had said, y'all don't know how long I've been wanting to ask y'all this. Well, Sharon, we're glad that you're here. Let us know where in the world you are.
Ask away.
And shout out to Ron Sneller out there on IG, a buddy of mine. We've met in person. No, we haven't met in person. He saw my brother in person, but Ron is out there preaching good news. We have some differences of opinion on one or two products. He and I know that, but we're fighting that good fight out there in social media, trying to help people understand the foundational tools you want to get into before you throw all your money into the market or you do the typical things that they tell you in HR. So shout out to my man, Sneller Financial out there. You can find him on IG and TikTok where we go back and forth in the DMs all the time. Sharon, Texas. Love it. Okay, I want to get into another conversation out there, ladies and gentlemen. So let's have a little chit chat. Okay, boys out there, we got some of our coaches here. Remember, we're always having a good conversation with folks for free all the time, helping them understand their money and how they can make that work for them over the course of their life. Mm-hmm. The new conversation that we're going to be having starting on Monday, ladies and gentlemen, August is about to be upon us, and we're going to preview something with our current client community. And we're going to start to talk about this a lot more. And it's the need for and how insurance, guaranteed insurance, works into the needs for your health care long term. The industry term on that is called long-term care. Okay, shout out, raise your hand out there, give us a like, a poke, whatever. Are you familiar with this term? Long-term care and long-term care insurance. We're going to have this conversation because it can be based in a guaranteed whole life product that starts kicking off Jermaine's favorite life benefits for your healthcare costs in the long term. All right. Sharon says, yes, she has heard of this long-term care. It is a conversation at the Cash Compound we are going to start having with you guys. And we want to start it right here, right now. This is really one of the first official times, other than one or two YouTube videos that we've had, that are helping people understand. Sean, I'm coming to you with this. You've done some homework and some research on this. We're young bucks when it comes to it. I'm the oldest of you guys here, right? Early 40s, right? You guys are in the 40s and 30s out there. I don't know how our family of followers, what their ages are out there, but long-term care is becoming a lot more of a conversation. Why does it interest you? How does it work? And how is this conversation supposed to get started? Sean.
So I think one of the biggest reasons that it interests me is because it's now, at least the product that we utilize is now being built off of a whole life chassis. So it's going to come with these guarantees. I think a lot of people used to get long-term care, but there was a little bit of a bad taste in their mouth because it was more of a use it or lose it type deal. And so ideally, you would get to the point where you probably didn't have to use it, but then if you're not using it, you're losing it. So when we're building it off of this whole life chassis where the foundational piece is the whole life insurance product, then it's either going to be, I'm going to guarantee myself that I have the ability to utilize this asset replacement tool, or my family is going to get cash paid out to them at the end, tax-free, worst case scenario if I don't use it. So I never really thought about it as something that younger people should start looking into, because you're usually as healthy as you're ever going to be when you're young like this. But the more that I learned about it, the more that I realized, much like life insurance, if you get it as early as you possibly can, as early as you possibly can qualify for, then it can be extremely affordable. And you can do some really cool things through stacking different policies as you start to age, because maybe right now you're not in the financial place where you're like, hey, I don't think I could kick out 500, $1,000 a month specifically for long-term care, but I could do $100. Maybe I could do $150. So as you start to progress through your life, you can just start stacking another policy on top of each other and building that overall benefit that you have that's going to take care of you for the rest of your life. And that just made so much sense to me. It's like, man, get it while it's cheap, get the pennies on the dollars, and have that sense of security there. And worst case scenario, we don't use it. Actually, maybe best case scenario, families getting some tax-free cash at the end of it anyways.
I love that, Sean. So, Jesse, I'm coming to you to help us understand, as a new 40-year-old, you've just entered that new decade, same age as me. We've got young children. We're not normally thinking about healthcare costs. We're normally not thinking about Social Security, Medicaid, and Medicare, those types of things. It's on the horizon, but it's starting to become much more of a conversation with our generation as our parents are still with us and they're starting to age. What is long-term care? How does it benefit you? Should we buy it now, or is it a waste of money? How do you kind of start this conversation? And how have you started to think about it as we've started to learn about this as a coaching staff in the last year?
Yeah, I'd like to address why. But why even consider long-term care? What could put it on your horizon? So because of where we're at, young still, with young children, and parents that are getting into the age where it's more relevant to talk about long-term care, perhaps for them. But again, you never know when accidents could happen. So, but to address the why, I am thinking of, well, we have done some significant things to build up these appreciating assets, this ideal asset, this save and spend system that we've been building for going on 10 years now. And I don't want something like taxation. I don't want something like inflation. So those are some of the common big eroders to wealth that we're used to. But I would say right on the heels of those, of course, is long-term care. Do you want to be building something significant and then have that leached, right, because of this long-term care issue that we avoid? So we just don't want to avoid it. If you're intentional about building something that's going to be a living legacy for you and your family, then long-term care comes on the table. So it applies for all the right reasons, right? What do we want the care of our parents to look like? What do we want our own care to look like? And at the end of the day, I do want to preserve this legacy that we're building. So it just allows us to check all of these boxes where we can account for our future lifestyle now and our care now and have all those guarantees that Sean was talking about. We could be even forward thinking and think about how could we have conversations with our parents to be able to provide the kind of care that we want to be able to help provide for them. And again, it not erode what they perhaps have built in their lifetime that's intended for the family. But of course, we want care for them. So we just don't want to be in that position of choosing, well, do we try and keep assets, or do we depend on the government for our care? There's a lot to consider.
There is a lot to consider. And it's, like I said, becoming more and more of a topic of conversation. Shout out there to Pastor Jason, original Sea Dog, I guess is what it is. But I know who you are out there. Pastor Jason, my man, on IG. Thanks for showing up. Even if it was just for a minute or two, we're glad that you're here. Sean, I'm going to come back to you for a little quiz that I worked up here. We're talking about a chassis of whole life insurance. Remember, this is no longer a product where it's use it or lose it.
Right.
What happens is if it's not needed, which if you are a married couple over the age of like 55 years old, the likelihood that one of those parties, he or she, need long-term care, not the insurance, they need long-term care. We're talking about something that's probably 30 days or beyond. Long-term care is over 90%.
91%. Yep.
91% is what we
It might as well be 100%. Like, it's going to happen.
Right. Yes, 9 out of 10. That somebody out of that couple is going to need long-term care. So you're going to rely on charity? You're going to rely on church? You're going to rely on children? I got 3 CHs out there: charity, church, children, or the government. Is there any way to make the government
Communism.
communism? Yeah, CH communism, communism. All right. Who are you going to rely on for this? Because either the hospital's getting all your money, or the government's getting all your money, or perhaps you can buy someone else's money. Save your money, spend someone else's on long-term care costs. I've worked up a little quiz for you, Sean. We're talking about asset-based. That means guaranteed. Long-term care, dollars that can come in daily or weekly for your healthcare costs for the duration. You can have it set up several different ways, but the duration might be forever. 5-question quiz for you, Sean. I worked up right now based on our favorite partner for this product. I have a question for you here. True or false, Sean? You can use your monthly long-term care benefit to pay a family member or a friend who is providing you home care, even if they're not a licensed caregiver. True or false?
True.
True. That's wild. That's
So good,
true.
man. So good.
So good. Okay, very good. So our favorite
that's the
provider
thing,
applies that
man.
for true.
Most people do. Not everybody,
Yeah.
but most people do.
Okay,
Yeah.
this is not a grandma's old school style policy, friends. With indemnity style long-term care payouts, you can compensate your cousin, your neighbor, even your Sunday school buddy, as long as they're helping you meet your health care needs. That is true. Ladies and gentlemen, put it in the chat right here if you're still with us. True or false, and I'll pose it to Sean as well. You can use your long-term care benefits to help cover the cost of adult daycare services. Hold it one thought right here. Let's see if anybody puts it in the chat. True or false? What do you think out there, ladies and gentlemen?
Care.
Adult daycare. True or
They could
false?
have named it something else. That doesn't sound.
It sounds so. I mean, it sounds like you're losing some of your dignity, right? It
That's
sounds
exactly what it sounds like.
a lot of
your
dignity.
dignity.
Jesse's never going into a place like that. I'll tell you right now.
Daycare.
Okay. All right. Sean, what do you say? True or false?
That is true.
That is true, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, Sharon got it.
I got it.
Right at the last second. She put true in there. If you need some help during the day while your family works, these types of benefits have you covered, whether it's puzzles or lunch or supervised activities. Adult daycare is a valid use. Now, at the same time, let's not laugh at everybody out there. There are some great adult services in my town. As an MC and entertainer, I've been able to partner with them on some special projects. And there's a great community 5 minutes from my house that is a daytime service where seniors show up and they got gym in there. They got game day. I mean, I went in there with it's open. I watched the Sound of Music. They had a Sound of Music sing along. I took my little daughter in there. They got a coffee bar in there. They got art shows, all sorts of
really
stuff.
quickly, Jeremiah, if you guys are watching this, one thing that we love to do with our policies is take cash from our policies, cash value, and go invest it into things that we know, like, and trust, things that we believe in. If you're not aware of what they call the silver tsunami of people retiring at this point in time, the space for investing in these exact type of things, long-term care style housing or facilities, whatever it may be, is huge right now. So I 100% believe there are some really great ones out there, and they're getting a lot more better ones. The better you raise the level of competition, the better product becomes.
Yes.
So again, definitely something to not only have for yourself, but be on the lookout of where I can put some cash value to work, because there's probably going to be some good returns there. There's a lot of people going into that.
Yeah, very much so. And like I'm saying, this one particular center in my town that I'm talking about, we're not even talking about residential services. We're not talking about residential. We're talking about a community center of sorts. Now, I don't know if this particular community center is the type that you can use for your long-term care service, but it might qualify as an adult daycare type facility. I don't know for sure. This one in particular, we're not going to name the names, but it's a wonderful community of people starting at 55. Y'all realize that I'm 55 in 14 years? 14. Yeah. You see how crazy that is? And there are many people like, hey, I'm not old enough for that. And this is a community of people hanging out and having a good time, this particular one. But yes, that is true. Adult daycare services. It doesn't have to mean the same thing that you thought it meant back when you were 25 years old anymore. That's for sure. Okay. Question number 3, throw it in the chat right now. True or false, friends, families, and fans out there, you can use the long-term care benefits to pay for assisted living or memory care. A memory care center. All right, throw it in the chat and let us know. This type of policy that we're talking about can be used for assisted living or memory care. While you're thinking of it and putting that in the chat, let's refresh exactly what Sean was saying there that I skipped over. Borrowing against your infinite banking whole life policies to get involved in some sort of opportunity to invest in these situations. But what if we borrowed, Jesse, our cash value from and against our life insurance policy to pay for our long-term care policy? See how this is infinite?
Hey.
Okay, Jesse, what do you have to say to that? Would you borrow against your whole life policy to pay for your long-term care policy, thinking that you, a married man, there's a 91% chance you and your wife live a very long and healthy life, and one of you would need to start to care for the other person and maybe need help or resources. Not just, I'm just talking, I mean, you'd be able to carry your wife well past your 90s, but could she carry you? Would she need help? Would she need some services, some resources? What do you say to that? Would you borrow against your policy to pay for another policy?
Yeah, it doesn't matter whether it was Sharon talking about crypto earlier or whether it's, Sean talking about, business, investments. It doesn't matter if it's something in your lifestyle, like premiums for home insurance, car insurance, long-term care. It's like everything is financed at the end of the day. And my philosophy is that, yes, I want to finance everything possible to include business, investments, lifestyle stuff from my private banking system. So for me, it's a yes.
All right. Interesting. All right. Sharon said true on this one, Sean. Survey says?
True.
True is correct, ladies and gentlemen. Yep, just because it's not a nursing home doesn't mean it's not eligible. Assisted living, specialized memory care are benefits that can be utilized with your policy. All right, next question here. You can use your long-term care policy benefits to cover modifications to your home, Sean, like installing a wheelchair ramp or maybe a stair lift. True or false? True or false out there, ladies and gentlemen? You can use long-term care policy benefits to upgrade or downgrade your home to modify it for your needs. Sean, what do you say to that?
So I actually talked to Michelle Prather over at One America, who heads off the long-term care division. And this is not something that we talked about, but I'm going to go out on a limb here, seeing how flexible these policies are, and say that's going to be true.
That is also true. You guys see a pattern. You see a pattern of what we've got here. We did not want to throw you off here. It's an introduction to many of us having a conversation like this for the first time. Every answer has been true. Making your home safer and more accessible is a part of your care journey, and the policy can pay out monthly, even if you're just making improvements to your home, like a wheelchair ramp or a stair lift or redoing the shower so you ain't got to take a big step. All these things are very important as people age. We're living extremely longer. Healthcare is helping with that. I don't know, the way the air is built around here, we got good drinking water. We're living longer than maybe our grandparents and great-grandparents were expected to live. And we can modify the house with these policies as well. Remember, when we're leveraging these policies, these are not taxable incomes, dollars that are coming in. This is insurance benefits. And so we're able to do that. Okay, so a question from Sharon out here. Let's throw it back up.
Yeah, I think you kind of answered that.
Let's see. Question. Okay, what's the question out here? Well, read it to us and let us know, Jesse.
So these items are not taxed? Question mark.
Oh, well, I was just in the middle of rambling.
Yeah, you were.
I was going to say, I think you just answered that.
Yep.
Remember, this is an insurance product, a guaranteed insurance product, and insurance is not taxed. Okay, most of the time, 90% of the time, the way we're talking about it, using it, unless we specify insurance. Remember, now, Sharon, let me ask you a question out there, the Instagram family, everybody on YouTube at the Banking Bros channel. If you, God forbid, have a fender bender, Jake from State Farm pops up like a good neighbor. They assess the situation and give you a check, a payout. Is that income? Income is taxed. No. So we already know that it's not taxed. We've experienced these things once or twice in our life before, and we are reminding you this is an insurance product.
Right.
We're protecting against something. Our dollars bought more in the case of a loss. And in the case of a loss, that's not income. We're replacing something that we can't do anymore, we don't have, or that's had damage. No new taxes. Read my lips. Okay, one last question here. We know the answer, Sean. You can use your policy's long-term care benefits for in-home care services like bathing, dressing, meal prep, and medical reminders.
True.
True. All right. It's not glamorous, but if you have issues or challenges, as you have maybe physical and cognitive decline around what they call the ADLs, right?
ADLs,
There's
yep.
6 of them, right? Can we name all 6, Jesse?
We probably could between us. I don't know. If I could
Between,
off
okay,
the
all
top
right.
of
All
my
right. Give
head.
us one. We'll go around.
Transferring.
Transferring.
Moving
Okay, they
yourself
call it
about.
transferring, right, Sean?
Yep. Feeding yourself.
Feeding yourself, bathing,
Toileting.
Yes. Okay, toileting. Yep, Sean.
Clothing.
Clothing yourself. Yep. Clothing, or last one. Oh, what is it? Somebody give it to me.
I think it's.
Dressing.
No, we said that
Oh,
when you
Okay,
said clothing.
Sorry, I was.
Is it
saying-
taking your like?
Bathing. Oh, it might be medical. Yeah, taking medicines, reminders
Yeah.
to take medicines or something like that. Getting your medicines. I think that might be it. No. Does that sound right? Anyway.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so the answer is true. These types of things are very important, and cognitive and physical decline slow these things down. But you may be with us for years and years and years with trouble or need assistance just doing these things so you can stay alive and stay alert and get out of the bed and move to making breakfast, right? So, yep.
And again,
JD,
heaven
so-
forbid, but accidents. This is not just for people that are in there.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I was just-
Years
I
young.
was just going to bring that up.
Roll
so-
with it, Sean.
So I was talking to Michelle about this, again, the specialist in this field. And as I'm sure you guys are aware, one of the I'm going to ask you guys, do you know what the second leading cause of death in the U.S. is? Number 1 is heart.
They say
related.
heart disease, right? Heart disease.
You know what number 2 is?
Automobile accidents.
Is it
Another disease.
it's a disease? Okay, not heart disease.
The
They say that's number
diabetes.
1. The diabetes.
Not diabetes. No, it's cancer.
Oh, cancer.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So a prime example here, we know that a lot more people are getting cancer earlier these days. I'm going to not say it's what they're putting in our food, but a lot more people are getting cancer these days. A lot
Right.
younger as well. These products, this specific product, can be turned on and turned off. So let's just say my wife, who's about to be 36 years old at the end of this upcoming month, has her policy in place, and she's got a $30,000 a year payment that she gets from this policy if something were to happen. If she were to get, God forbid, diagnosed with cancer, that's going to cost money. There's going to be treatment and all of these different things that go into this. You can flip on your long-term care product and start receiving income to help with income replacement, to help for paying for whatever necessary things she needs for treatment and whatnot. And then once she beats it, hopefully she beats it, she's done with it, it can be turned off. And then if it's needed later on in life, you can flip it back on again. So it's very flexible in that way that it's put it in place now because there's a pretty high probability that something's going to happen to you probably before you even get to that much later stage in life that you may require something like this. I've been doing insurance for a little while, more specifically on the life side. And I had so many potential clients and clients that I spoke to that had, let's just talk about cancer, had been diagnosed with cancer before I spoke with them the first time or after they had policies in place. And luckily they had things in place to help take care of that. But just cancer alone is a big deal and it's extremely expensive. So having something like this in place is going to be a huge factor in helping make sure that your bank account doesn't get drained because you didn't have the proper finances.
Love it. Ladies and gentlemen, we hope you've enjoyed our conversation today. We are going to be talking and walking through long-term care more often around here to help you understand how to protect your dollars, protect your dignity, and protect your longevity with long-term care insurance. And if you're buying it in the right place and it's set up in the right way, you're going to have a protection of a guaranteed benefit and a pool and access of money. So it is not a use it or lose it product that you may have heard of from a decade ago or more. So thank you for being a part of that conversation with us. And reminder to our current clients, you're going to start to get a few messages from us over the course of the next couple of days this weekend for a new course that is available to you in our client portal. You might be able to jump in and see it now even, but it's coming over the course of this weekend, and yours truly will be leading a conversation around long-term care just like this, to help you understand how to get this type of proper protection in place for your family for the long haul. So thank you for joining us on this Power Hour and this cash coaching session. We do it every Thursday, noon Eastern. We get started a few minutes behind the noon hour, and we hope that you can join us again next week for Code Cracking Cash Flow. In the chat, we have placed our link, and I want to remind you that saveandspendsystem.com is where you can find our full-length presentation on the introduction to the infinite banking method, how you can utilize whole life insurance that we've shown you here in the 3-cup setup, where your money is safe and sound and it's going to compound. And right here, you've got cash value. You can use it, lose it, or abuse it. R.I.P. Ozzy Osbourne. Peace out, everybody. We'll see you next week.
See y'all.
You are now tuned to the banking bro. Said we couldn't make it because we chose. Gave a lot of game, we never got a lot of things. Bow your head and say the prayer. We taught you how to be the bank.